Hello, my name's Alan Foom, and today I'm going to talk about the Skills Quadrant. So what are the skills needed for any role in a job? So this will help both employers define their skill sets that they need for any particular role, and also potential employees sell themselves into the role by demonstrating what skills they have. So let's first of all have a little look at this diagram, which is a job component triangle. So three basic things that are within a job. First of all, there's the practical knowledge, the ability to actually do the task. So if you're a motor mechanic, you've got to be able to fix cars. If you're a pilot, you've got to be able to fly planes. If you're a geologist, you're going to have to interpret geological data. Then the knowledge and qualifications. Coming back to our friend the pilot needs to have been trained to fly a plane, needs to be certified to fly a plane, and obviously there's certifications for every particular type of plane that the pilot needs to fly, and to have the license to do so. And during that training, they would have an understanding of why the tasks need to be done and how to actually do the task effectively. Then experience and context. Now, going back to our friend the pilot, she would have done the task numerous times on previous occasions. She would have both flown as a captain and as a first officer, therefore would also have had the opportunity to learn from other people's experiences. First Lady of the United States, Eleanor Roosevelt, said that one needs to learn from other people's mistakes because you're never going to get around to making them all yourself. Okay, so that's great. So now let's have a look at the skills quadrant. So we got four sets within here. We got specific skills at the top and transferable skills at the bottom. And we have hard skills on the left and soft skills, so-called soft skills. I don't like the term, but let's use it on the right. So first of all, you have the technical skills you need to require to do a particular role. The industry knowledge, which provides you context in which you apply those skills. Business skills, the general skills needed to operate in a business context. And life skills and attitude, which are the ways of doing things that shape our behavior, that influence everything we do. So let's have a quick look at the technical skills, the blue square. So these are skills needed to actually perform the tasks. Obviously, they're highly specific and depend on the role, and we all have a particular list of skills that are required within our profession. And it could be backed up by academic qualifications, credentials, professional qualifications, licensing, and are maintained through continual training, continual use of skills. So can you give me some examples? Well, here's my profession, petroleum geoscientists. And here's some of the skills that you'd need to have. So you'd need to be able to use specific software, Petrel, Landmark, Kingdom, Detect, Hampson Russell, Icon, RockDoc, etc., etc., etc. GIS skills, being able to use GIS and equivalent platforms. And then tasks like geological modeling, seismic interpretation, basin modeling, log correlation, etc., etc., etc. You'd also need to have specific experience. So, for example, you have specific country or basin experience. If you're somebody who's worked in the North Sea, you need to understand something about the geology of the North Sea. Now, you can pick this up relatively quickly, but still having some knowledge and having some experience is very helpful. And also experience about specific workflows. That takes a little bit longer to learn. But if, for example, you're building a reservoir model to put into a simulator together with a petroleum engineer and other modeling geologists, there's specific workflows within that you need to be able to do. Now coming to the yellow triangle rectangle, knowledge about the industry that you're working in. Now, it could be where, particularly in case of transferable skills, so jobs, for example, like let's say an accountant or a person who does procurement, understanding how an industry works extremely important. And also, how do you interact with other disciplines? So again, coming back to a petroleum economist, how do they interact with a geologist? How do they interact with an engineer? How does an industry work? What are the processes? What are the procedures? Why do we do things and how do we do things? And how does our industry relate to the outside environment? So for example, how do we work with society, with politicians, with economists, finance, etc.? So knowing all of these things enables you to be quite effective in your role. So coming back to our petroleum geoscientist, oilfield HSE. Obviously, we're a very, very safety related industry, and that's in our blood, and that's something that we need to be able to do at all levels. Understanding how the business works, understanding and estimating risks, understanding economics, And interacting with allied disciplines, drilling, petroleum engineering, and operations. As a geologist, these things are highly important because to be able to be effective, you need to work well with these people and understanding government regulations and industry norms. So moving to what I call soft skills, I don't like the term because they're actually quite hard to do effectively for many people, but they're the core of how people work and how people operate. So for example, you have analysis and problem solving. You solve problems, you analyze data, you put everything together. Communication advocacy, can you sell your idea effectively? Can you manage a project? Can you manage people? Training, guiding, mentoring the people that work with you in order to achieve the goal. Understanding finance and budgeting. Now, as a technical person, that's not as important, obviously, as it would be for an accountant or an economist, but you need to understand how these things work. Managing contractors. We have a lot of third-party people come in to work with us, specialists of various types. You need to work with them effectively. In order for these people to be brought on board, tendering and procurement. So how do you work effectively with your procurement professionals in order to deliver that? And also working worldwide and across cultures. In oil and gas business, you work throughout the entire world with all sorts of people from all sorts of places. And it's great because you all learn from each other. But again, there's a specific skill you need to have in order to be able to work effectively. And then the life skills and attitudes, ways of doing things and beliefs that shape our behavior. So examples is deliverability. You need to deliver work to specification to budget on time. Deal with that ability because life ain't always easy. Sometimes the manure has an encounter with the air conditioning system. You need to be able to cope with that, come up with solutions. Communications and dialogue and the ability to work with people, working effectively in a team. An ability to grow, learn, and develop. The science that I've been working in has changed tremendously since I first started back in 1990. New techniques, new tools, new ideas. So having that in there. Sound judgment and open-mindedness to be able to be open to new ideas. Try to inspire others. Enthusiasm and resilience because again, you need to believe in what you want to do and you need to go through the tough times to get to the good times. An ability to work with all sorts of different people. Again, because we're multinational, multicultural industry, you need to be able to effectively work with all of those people and learn from them. Now, if you can do all that, your name might be Clark Kent or Diana Prince, Superman or Wonder Woman, but well, that's probably a little bit too much to ask for. So, which skills will be important to the hiring manager? This obviously depends on the role. And a hiring manager can use this sort of template to highlight what is absolutely necessary. From what I've heard, people tend to screen on the so-called hard skills, technical and industry knowledge, but they actually make the final decision on the business skills and life skills. Again, how do you measure or assess skills competency? For example, the AA, when they select mechanics, actually give them a car with a fault and ask them to diagnose and fix the fault. Yes, that's fairly easy. In job interviews, on one job interview, I was given some seismic data to interpret. Great, that's fairly easy. But some of the other skills, a little bit harder to measure, a little bit harder to demonstrate. Another question is, which skills are transferable? Now, the world is changing, new industries are growing, some industries are declining, people can move between industries. How transferable are some of the skills that you have and how do you alter them? And also, some employers may have a status quo bias where they may overrate, for example, the industry knowledge because people may be able to pick that up fairly quickly. Or are you open to fresh ways of doing things and learning from others? Again, people get all birds of a feather. That may make you feel very comfortable, but you may well miss out on new ideas and new thoughts. So to sum up, a skills matrix like this can really focus people's ideas on what skills are necessary. So at the top, you've got your qualifications, both your technical and academic. Those are obviously very easy to check because people have degree certificates or licenses. And then personal qualifications, for example, citizenship, right to work, some physical requirements. For example, astronauts have to be less than 1.80 m in height. And then medical requirements, for example, colorblind people cannot be electricians. Then you have your technical skills, your industry knowledge, your business skills, and your life skills and attitudes. And using this sort of template can enable you to focus on your skills, to be able to sell your skills, and as an employer to judge what skills are really necessary. Thank you very much for your time. My name's Alan Foom. Please like, please subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one.